Hi everyone, here's the last video of the quarter on the integration paper. I know that you've got a lot of information on how to write this integration paper. This is just a quick video to highlight some of the important parts so that you'll feel really confident as you go into writing this paper. Make sure you take a look at the syllabus addendum. Take a look at the syllabus where I talk about the integration paper in the syllabus, and then also take a look at the syllabus addendum that has been posted to Moodle. That is really going to be helpful to you. The syllabus addendum also includes the rubric, and the rubric is quite detailed as well. So all of those things really tell you how to write this paper. The paper is a three-part paper, and the way I envision it is you would answer the central integrating question, the CIQ, first, and then you craft your rule of life, and you include your rule of life in the paper. And then the third part of the paper is the actual body of the paper, which is really set out for you well in the rubric. The CIQ, again, is, how do you envision God calling you at this point in time in your Christian life? So look back to week 1 when we talked about this a little bit. Take a look at the videos that talk about this. Think about how this is working in your life right now. How do you feel God calling you? And I've given you some creative options as to things that you can include in ways to answer the CIQ, or you can just answer it, straight out. So decide how you want to approach that, and you can include that in your paper. The second part of the paper is the rule of life. I've already posted the video on rule of life, and so that should give you some idea of what you're doing in the rule of life. Make sure you're thinking about your values. What do you really value, and what did you get out of this course? Hopefully you'll include some of the practices that we covered in the course, but you may include other practices from other classes. You may include practices that have been meaningful to you. So I would think that, your rule, you'll probably have 8 to 10 rules at least, maybe more, maybe less. Think through it and think about what would be important for you to include in your rule. And then as far as the integration paper is concerned, I really encourage you, in order to answer this idea of setting your paper into context in the rubric, you've got to look back to week 1. You've got to look back to what we did there. So make sure you take a look at what we did in week 1. As far as the introduction and the conclusion, those should be, you can include this idea of set your paper into context in your introduction, and then you'll probably want to revisit that in your conclusion. Now, as far as the body of the paper, I see number 3 of your rubric, practices of worship, and prayer, it should say, addressing the body of your paper, or being addressed in the body of your paper. And so you want to pick at least 3 or 4 of your posts that were important, that you felt strongly about, that maybe you were more successful on, and revise those, make sure they're perfect, proofread, and include them in your paper in a way that makes sense given what you're saying in your introduction and your conclusion. Think about your personal and your church experiences. Make sure you're integrating the readings, the academic and the personal. Of course, that's what we've done in all the posts, and that's what you would be asked to do in this integration paper as well. You may want to include, how can you include this practice, or teach this practice, or introduce this practice into your community? You don't have to do that for absolutely every single practice, but it is something that I would love to see you thinking through in your paper. Of course, your paper is going to draw from the sources that we have read. Keep in mind that the paper asks you to think through something theologically. If we're thinking through it theologically, we have to go back and look at Brueggemann, at N.T. Wright, at Julian of Norwich, at the many people, Madame Guyon, the many people that we have read over the quarter. Make sure you're bringing those voices into your paper. Of course, you can include my lectures in the paper. You can include the expert witnesses from the videos into the paper. All of those things will enrich and flesh out your paper. Also, make sure that you're, using your own voice. Make sure that you're thinking critically about these practices, about what we've read, all of those things. I encourage you to develop your own voice in this paper. I know that the 12 to 1,500 words is not much. If you need to go over the 1,500 mark a little bit, that's okay with me. Don't end up beyond 1,600 words, I would say. But you may need to go a little bit toward the higher end, toward the 1,500 mark, in order to really flesh out all of these things in your paper. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to post questions on the question board or email me. I'm happy to respond. Good luck. I look forward to reading your papers. I'm excited to see how you bring all of this together, all the learning that we've done in this class together. And I hope that it's something that will, touch you not only in developing the integration paper, but I hope that it's something that you will carry forward for the rest of your life. Okay. God bless. Thank you. Bye.